Have you ever signed yourself up to host an event only to regret it down the line when that stress kicks in about planning a party?
Or have you found that costs start to spiral when you're trying to create those memorable moments?
This week, we speak to Debbie Marks, luxury event planner, who is the queen of creating memorable experiences.
Debbie tells us how we can create moments that are going to last a lifetime, and she tells us how we can make Christmas special even when we're on a budget. Debbie, hi, so lovely to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's so nice being here with you guys.
The question I want to start with is a big one. How can we still make Christmas feel special when we're on a budget?
Okay, that's a great question because I imagine a lot of people are thinking about this, and we work with people at all different budgets, and it seems to be that people want to go out and they always want to make something special, and there's always a way of doing it. And even some of the people that I find who don't earn as much money, they are the ones who actually go to town more than the people who do have the money, which is really interesting to see. But some things for me, I think, for making Christmas, it's all about making it meaningful. And you don't need a massive budget to make Christmas meaningful, and I think that's really important. And it's all about the special touches and the things that you bring into your home. So for example, it may be bringing in lighting and warmth into your home. Like lighting symbolizes like prosperity and life and happiness, and it could be just that you're putting some fairy lights around the edges of your TV, or little touches that make your home feel like warm and cozy. So little things like that. Also looking at things like, for example, your door wreath, right? A lot of people love to have a wreath on the door. Now you can quite easily make your own door wreath by going into your garden. A lot of people have conifers in their garden. They could chop some down, kind of wrap them all together in a circle, taking maybe a few baubles that they've had from previous years, maybe some fruits and things, and put it on there, and you could make your own wreath, and even maybe attaching a few little velvet ribbons or details like that. It's probably only going to cost you about £3 to make a wreath like that.
Wow.
You just need to be brave and be a little bit creative, because people, I think, sometimes are scared about being creative. However, I think people have got it in them. I didn't realise I was creative to quite late on in my career. But I think a lot of people can do it. You just need to be brave.
Yeah, I think we're all really perfectionistic, aren't we? But like, there's something so nice about something that is a bit imperfect or whatever when we've made it ourselves. But I think a lot of the time we get caught up thinking it has to look just right, and often that's not the case.
Yeah, sometimes that kind of the messy or a little bit imperfect look can look amazing. And even things where you can get your kids involved with different things, or whether it's making ornaments for the Christmas tree, or there's colouring things that they can do to really kind of make it extra special. And like, even for example, like putting like I know sometimes when couples get married for the first time, you could put our first Christmas together little thing onto the tree, and it's those really nice touches that make a difference. I was actually even thinking about Christmas trees, because we've been doing a lot of luxury Christmas tree decorating.
Oh, really?
In restaurants all around the country and hotels and things.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I've been literally covered head to toe in glitter.
Oh my God.
Professional Christmas tree decorate. That sounds like the best job ever.
Yeah. I get to play with glitter all day long, and you've probably got fine glitter all in my hair all the time. But one of the things I was thinking about is what you can do on your own tree, itself, because yes, it can be, obviously I know because we're buying all of these things all the time, it can be expensive to dress a really full tree with lots of ribbons and picks and glass ornaments and things. But what you can do is you can use some natural elements in your tree, like whether you use pine cones and you tie them together in clusters of 3 on your tree, or some cinnamon or some dried citrus, bringing those nice scents, which those scents are actually really good. If anyone's got a cat, somebody asked me the other day, how do I stop my cat attacking my Christmas tree?
Oh, really?
The cat's like,
wow.
Apparently, the scents of like citrus and cinnamon, cats don't like them. So if you put them on your tree, it'll actually keep your cat away from your tree.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which I thought, that is
amazing note for cat owners. Yeah, that's a great one.
And then what I would do is I would actually invest in a few luxury glass ornaments and put them onto your tree. You don't need loads of them, but a few really pieces will make your tree pop, because I think you can still have a luxury looking Christmas, but not spend a fortune on it as well. So sometimes less is more with what you're doing as well.
That's actually so true, that it's not always about how much that you put on the tree. And I think for a lot of people as well, one question is about real versus fake Christmas trees, because I know that the cost of real trees can be really expensive. But are there ways that you can make a cheaper Christmas tree look a bit more luxury as well?
Yes, you can. And I think the price of artificial trees this year has gone through the roof. So it's actually could be cheaper probably to get a fresh tree. And if you can support the local farms, Christmas tree farms and things around you, that goes a long way. But with the trees, it's all about, you know, putting a nice skirt on the tree, putting a nice tree topper. The more lights you can put on the tree, the better it looks. And I've seen loads of Christmas trees this year that actually don't have any decorations. They just have lights and they look amazing. Lots of like warm white fairy lights in your tree, loads of them.
I wonder what
Look
Kim
amazing.
Kardashian's doing. I haven't seen her.
I've seen it.
Is it
I've
big?
seen it. It's a massive, massive fresh tree that she's got. And then she's got lots of really quirky different ornaments. It's not full at all.
Really?
But there's lots of them, like really unique pieces.
I often
It's really
think
nice.
her style is amazing when it comes to, like, you know, her home. But one thing I really wanted to ask is, a lot of the time when we're planning a big event, like a Christmas dinner, New Year's Eve party, whatever it might be, it can be very exciting when we first tell everybody that we're going to do the event, and then all of a sudden it can become extremely stressful. It feels very overwhelming. We don't know how we're going to get it all done. Costs start to spiral. What tips do you have to kind of manage the stress of planning and hosting an event as a professional?
This is a big question, and I've actually written a whole book all about this. My book, Extraordinary Parties, literally takes you step by step how to do this in a stress-free way. But I think the main thing is start planning early is a massive thing. The more time you can give yourself, the better. And also, it's so easy to tell ourselves, oh, it's going to be stressful. So initially, don't put those thoughts into your head. Tell yourself, I'm going to enjoy this process. I'm going to take each step at a time and enjoy the planning process, because it can be really fun. And sometimes I think we're our own victims of giving us that stress.
Yeah.
But what I would say is start off with a checklist and doing a little bit of a brainstorm of all the things that you need to do. And also have a think about what's important to you, because there's lots of different elements that go into events, from the entertainment or the music that you're going to play, the food, the decor, all of those different things. And some people put emphasis more on food, some people more on decor. You might want a little bit of everything, and sometimes a little bit of everything brings it all together really nicely. So I think if you can break it down to those things that are really important to you, and also what your guests would really enjoy. Like, I know that my background is decor. I love decor. I think it makes a massive impact from the moment people walk in and they're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
The difference to that is to walk in to see a plain tablecloth with nothing on it. You can't compare it. And some people don't realise that until they start decorating their tables.
Yeah.
Impact that house. And there's a few people that I've worked with recently who I taught how to lay their table, and they properly upped their tablescaping game to another level. But now they learn how to do it. They do it all the time, and you know, it doesn't need to be stressful to do it, because they've got all the resources, they've got the things that they have in their homes, and literally they can whip it up in like 5 minutes. You can create something. So I'd say there's certain things that you need to think about. So when it comes to decor, you might say, oh, you know what, I'm going to choose a colour scheme, and then I'm going to go with that. But then you can tie it into other things that you're doing for your event. So you might think, oh, you know what, I want to serve a certain cocktail, and I want to have the cocktail in that colour scheme. Or you may be sending out an invitation, or even if it's like a WhatsApp invitation, you can design something and bring in those colours and those styles through it. So you can run it through, and even like elements of the food. I'm not saying like go for purple and make all your food
Red cabbage and beetroot for dinner.
But you can take little touches and elements and tie it through your event, so it's got a theme. And I'd say is like, don't be scared as well to be different when it comes to celebrating. Because the more fun you can have, the more enjoyable, the less stressful it would be. And there's lots of resources and things that you can use to help you with your planning out there. And really, that's one of the things that I'm all about, is making event planning stress-free for people. Because there are I know like that's why people hire event planners, because they don't want the stress and
Yeah.
they want to take them out of it. But not everyone can afford an event planner, and it doesn't actually necessarily need to be expensive to have an event planner. But there's other things now that you can have in terms of decor kits and planning resources and checklists, and lots of free resources that you can have to think, what do I need to do? Like even in the book I've got, so if you're hosting a dinner party, there's a whole checklist of everything that you need to think about when it comes to planning, and what orders to do it in, how long before do you need to do it, or when do I put the wine in the fridge? And
these are the things, aren't they, when like you've got guests there and you're like, shit, I forgot to put the wine in the fridge. Like these are the sorts of things that then sort of stress you out.
Yeah, and even like little things that you might want to change your hand towels in the toilet downstairs and have some amazing scented candles, or there's things that make a difference, like even just having some music on in the background to create the atmosphere as people come in. And for me, I'm all about that, bringing the special touches into everything as well.
I really want to touch on the tablescaping that you mentioned, because this is a new term to me. And having come across your tablescapes, I am so excited about this. I think it's very common, or at least my perception anyway, has been that, you have to spend a fortune or have an event planner, have a professional come into your house and bring things and kind of arrange it all for you if you want to create this really beautiful ambience and really make the room look and feel special. And what you've essentially done is package that up for people to do it themselves and do their own tablescapes. Can you tell us about how people like me and like how we can create that in our own home? Because I think the decor, like you say, it does bring a lot of joy and a lot of fun to a day or a night.
Yeah, it's really special. Let me just firstly explain what tablescaping is, because it's a new term that I feel like is only really evolved over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
It has been around a lot longer, but now it's becoming more of a known thing, and it's all about the art of decorating your table. And it is seen as a kind of elaborate and a sexy thing to decorate your table. But it's becoming a more and more thing that a lot of people are doing now. And it really, it's all about elevating the dining experience for yourselves and your guests. And for me, the whole kind of concept came around is I have an events business, an event design business, which I've been doing for 14 years. We're one of the biggest event decor companies in the North. And I design these big, lavish events. And I was thinking, well, there's only a certain number of events that I can design a year. I can only personally be at things. And obviously during lockdown, my whole business came to a close pretty much. And we usually do, before COVID, we were doing 300 events a year.
Wow.
And I was like, well, we can't do anything. And obviously it has all come back now, but it made me think, well, how can I actually get what I do out on a bigger scale? Because what I do is pretty much I help people create memories. And I'm the type of person that once we're planning the event, and especially if I'm event managing it, I'll be back at the back of the room and I will just watch people have the most amazing time. And, you'll see people interacting with grandparents and just like the kids having the most unbelievable time. And I'm just thinking, well, how can I create these memories on a bigger scale? And so for me, obviously, I'm all about event design. So I thought, what if I could design elements that people like, put it into a concept, put it into a box, and people will be able to buy it, and we can ship it all over the world. So that's the whole idea behind it. And I was thinking, the more people I can give this experience to, pretty much the more magical moments happen, because a lot happens around a dinner table through conversations and different things. And if you're going to decorate your table, and you do it in an elevated in a really special way, people are going to go away talking about your table, or they're going to listen.
Totally.
They're going to remember in 5 years' time that amazing tablescape that you did, or that amazing dinner party that they came to at your house. So it's all about that. But for me, I'm all about making event planning easy, because a lot of people said to me, oh, I love what you do, but I have no idea where to start. I have no idea what candle to put with this, or garland, or different things. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make it really, really easy for you. So what I did is I've put all of the concepts, all the different elements that you need in a box. So, for example, we have seasonal boxes, but obviously now it's all about Christmas tablescapes and making your Christmas table look amazing. So in the box, you've got everything from a linen table runner to to a garland, to candlesticks, to poinsettia decorations, and all the place settings from charger plates to napkins to napkin rings, the whole works.
Wow.
So you can have the most incredible table and it all comes to you in a box. You can choose, I think there's 8 different styles now that you can choose on the website. And you can choose which style, and basically you get sent a style guide with it as well.
Oh,
So it
that's
tells
so
you exactly
great.
how to do it. You also get photos of things of how it
Yeah.
can look. But I always encourage people as well, if they don't like the way that I've designed it, you can use different elements and
It's cool,
and do it yourself. And then also within the box, I send people get a Christmas playlist with it as well.
Oh my God.
That's
It's all about the
amazing.
experience. So we put together the most amazing Christmas playlist. You also get a game in the box as well. 'Cause it's
Oh, that's
about,
so great,
entertaining
yeah.
and playing around the table and things. And so many people love the experience of just setting it up. And I think there's something really special about being a host, and it doesn't need to be stressful. And I know I set my table pretty much every Friday night for and me and my kids, we decorate the table together.
Do you?
And it's
Oh.
such a fun experience to do if you've got kids or teenage daughters or young daughters. The fact of like giving them a box of decor is the funnest game in the world of just making the table look amazing. But it's all that feeling of, I know for when I've done events for years, when people walk in the room, like I get that people are like, wow, that's amazing, it looks so good. And it, as an event planner, that feeling feels really good. And I'm like, I want to give people that feeling. So as a host, when you're styling the table yourself, because basically say I'm your like hidden secret that people don't need to know that I've given you a little helping hand to do it.
Love that.
You're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And you can feel really proud of what you physically created with
Totally.
everything in the box, and it's really, really special, that whole experience in itself.
It sounds amazing, and it's basically like you say, having a event planner in a box that can come and help you. But you talk there about the fact that you've done this for 14 years, you've worked on a whole host of different events. Are there any particularly memorable events that stand out to you?
Yeah, this is a great question because there's quite a few, but there's a few. There's one that I did recently, and it was actually a 40th birthday party in somebody's house it was in South Manchester, and it was in Hale actually, and they were going to go to Ibiza to celebrate the 40th birthday, but obviously COVID came. They were going to go out with their friends, and they were going to go to a restaurant called Leo's, if you know it.
Yeah, in
It's an
Ibiza.
amazing,
Yeah.
cabaret bar
Yeah.
overlooking the marina. It's really cool entertainment dining experience. And it was the lady, she was actually called Deborah, and it was her favourite, basically it was her favourite restaurant, favourite place. So anyway, the brief was to recreate Leo's in their own house.
That's so cool.
It was really fun to do, and I'd kind of free creative reign with it, and they had a really long driveway, so we kind of red carpeted the whole
Wow.
driveway. And as guests were coming in, we had fire performers and
Wow.
walkers and all sorts as people were coming down the drive. And then they came into the house, and they were met at the door, and we had obviously somebody taking their coats as people came in, and the whole house was lit up with red. We created a bespoke logo for
Oh my gosh.
which was based on the Leo's logo. So that was projected onto the front of the house, and the whole house was all lit up. And then as they came in, they went down, they were served drinks, and we had like snake charmers and loads of entertainers, and we had showgirls. People could have their photos taken with showgirls as they came in. So we had a whole array of entertainment throughout the whole night. We had a live band, and it was really, really interactive. It was a bit crazy. at
Yeah.
some point.
I can imagine.
We had I like with events, I like to kind of keep doing things that make really difference. And this is not like everyone's cup of tea, but we ended up having creating Debbie dollars for the event. So we had all this like fake money, and there's a song, I can't remember what it's called, but it's called Bills.
Destiny's Child.
Yeah. No, it's not Destiny Child. I can't remember what it was, but it's called Bills.
I
And
know
every
which
time
one.
we played it,
Okay.
literally we had these girls coming out and literally throwing money, this fake money around everywhere.
Oh my God, that is so
so
cool.
fun. It was so funny, and we had a cocktail bar, and going around all the time. We had like amazing cocktails with dry ice, and the whole thing was an experience. To the food, the cake, like all the little details. We had bottles of champagne coming out with the fire fountains on top and all sorts. So yeah, it
That
was fun.
sounds
And
incredible.
They basically, their house, we created this party in the basement of their house. They had a swimming pool in the basement of the house, so we covered over the swimming pool, and we brought in loads of furniture and chill out area, and we had
So
casino
cool.
tables and a big cocktail bar and all sorts. So it was really cool. And we created these little catwalks downstairs and an elevated stage. So there's wherever you look, there was something going on.
Wow.
My brother and sister-in-law, their favourite place on earth is also Leo's. And I think off the back of this, you're going to get a few calls like, can you recreate Leo's in our house for our party?
Yeah,
that sounds absolutely amazing. One thing I'd love to ask as well is, do you find, obviously because you have been so meticulous about it as a professional event planner, do you find things always go to plan and to schedule, or is it inevitable with any event on whatever scale that some things are gonna go wrong and you kind of have to manage things at the time?
Yeah, something always goes wrong.
Does it? Yeah.
Not actually. I say no, a lot of things don't go wrong, but I think as an event planner, you need to prepare for the worst, because you work with loads of different suppliers, and I work with some of the best entertainment, and I know my suppliers inside out, and I know that they're trustworthy and they're going to let you down. But sometimes the client will say, "Oh, we want to use this person, or we want to use that person,"
Yeah.
and sometimes people are out of your hands, or a train might be delayed and you have to change up a running order or a schedule because a performer can't get there on time, or there's a power outage, or there's all sorts, like things happen. But I feel like I've dealt with so many different situations. You just need to be able to troubleshoot. A lot of the majority of the time, clients actually don't know if anything has happened, because it's dealt with behind the scenes, and no one knows any different. But I think every event has always got something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're pretty good. I've got a good track record of things, touch wood, going to plan.
Touch wood.
But yeah, it's life. Like, things happen, and it could be an argument between a member of the family, or different things.
Very true.
Yeah.
Your control, and even when it comes to money, like when you're planning these big events, they're expensive, these big events, and I'm in the middle between a mediator between the husband and the wife, or the parents and the kids. Like that's a normal scenario that I get involved with as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think as we're looking into next year, then there is no doubt that for a lot of people, there's going to be a bit of a question as to how to balance that financial, I guess, pressure that a lot of people are going to be facing with wanting to celebrate inevitably the events that come, birthdays, weddings, christenings, all of that. And I'd love to know, where do you think that people can best spend their money? Or is it really a case of it does depend on the individual?
It does. I think it does depend on the individual and your preference, but you can be really clever with how you spend your money and the impact that you have on it. So, for example, and it also depends on what's important. So you could, for example, some venues are an absolute fortune to hire, but you can have a venue that's a lot cheaper. Maybe it's in a little bit more rural area, or it's slightly different, and you can dress it up and you can make it amazing. Like, I've had people that have hired maybe community halls or something like that, but they've made them unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you're not paying, especially if you go into central London, the cost of hiring a venue
It's just insane.
extortionate.
Yeah.
So you can be clever of, firstly, the venue of where you choose. Also look at things of, like, what does your venue come with? So it may be that you're booking a venue and it's already maybe got lighting that comes with it, or it's already got, a lot of venues have the tables and chairs, some don't, and different things. So look at all the things around you of, like, what are the extras that you actually have to pay for before you've even started with things. I know I've been to some venues before and a client insisted in having it in a marquee, but then there was nowhere they had a big live show band, and there was nowhere for the live show band to change or anything. So we ended up building an extra section of the marquee
Gosh.
on the back of it just for the band to change it into. And so there's lots of different things. It's really looking at the practicalities of that the venue where you're having does everything that you need. Obviously, things like, I think entertainment is really important.
Yeah.
And you can spend a lot of money on entertainment, and I love a good show band or, you know, an incredible entertainment. But there are some really reasonable bands, or it may be that you choose to opt for a DJ or a DJ live kind of scenario instead of going for a full band that will give you that balance. And again, when it comes to decor, having like luxury silk florals instead of fresh florals, that's another cost saving. It's usually about 3 times cheaper. And the quality that you can get these days are absolutely amazing. And it may be that you go with some really big feature focal points. So, for example, you might have a giant chandelier hanging over your dance floor, but then you might just keep all your tables to really low-key, kind of elegant candlelit centerpieces. And it's finding those balances. So I will say go for the feature focal things and get that balance with it, because it's about the impact and it's about the things that people remember on the day as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting actually that you say about that idea of having a village hall or a town hall and dressing it up, because I've spoken to a lot of people recently who have done that, particularly for things like weddings or birthday parties. And actually, if you take the money away from the venue and spend less on the venue, you have got so much more to be creative with a lot of the time.
And don't get me wrong, there are some incredible venues out there.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it is worth paying for the venue to get that scenario. I know we do quite a lot of weddings in castle style venues, and it's the setting that you have with it and getting that balance of what's going on. But things like if you get, say if it's, for example, a wedding, like if you get married midweek, it's a lot cheaper than taking prime dates. So if you chose for like a Monday or Tuesday wedding, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So you can have these really high-end venues, but at a significant cheaper price if you're picky with your day.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask about is I when you're talking about when it was the pandemic and you went from 300 events a year to obviously 0, I imagine, throughout the lockdowns. I mean, we all had loads of friends who had weddings. At least yours was a COVID put off wedding, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we pushed our wedding a year.
Yeah. So many events were postponed, delayed, changed, and obviously, you know, the event space just kind of had to shut down for a while, which I cannot imagine what it must have been like being in the events industry. I think the fact that you then created a product for at home is amazing. And I'm sure there's loads of other kind of things that, like, great things that came out of that. But what I'd love to know is, in the post-pandemic world, have you seen any shifts in kind of what people are asking for? Are people wanting to splash out more on big, huge events, or have things come down? Or, is there any change in kind of what people are asking for when it comes to events and celebrations?
Interesting question. So, I think things have changed. The key elements have stayed the same, but I think people are going bigger with their events. Especially, I found this year we do a lot of corporate Christmas parties. They've all gone bigger.
Yeah.
And I think it may be because they've got budgets from previous years that they've not spent on their Christmas parties, and they can put towards these events. So I think we're in a society where people want experiences. They want something different now, and people are going more all out there. Even with weddings, I think people are being more creative, and I think we're going to see this as we go into next year as well, that people are not going with necessarily the ordinary for a wedding, and they want to create more of an experience for their guests, whether it's the layout of how they have the table, or really quirky color schemes, or bringing different types of entertainment through to what they're doing. People are creating it more of an experience, or they're creating a weekend of it, because we've all been away from our families and friends for so long. Now people just want to be together. And the same goes with dinner parties and bringing people back into your homes now. A lot of people did a lot of work on their homes during the lockdown period, and now we want people to come and see it, and we want people to come and enjoy the experience. And I think a lot of people aren't going out as much as they want, because they're used to being at home, but they're bringing people back into their home, and that's where that kind of whole elevated party experience at home is really happening as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting actually that you say that, because actually I think when this episode goes out, I will be at a very much experienced wedding, which is a 3-day abroad, pretty much festival, which has been a long time coming. And I think people are just so excited to be able to embrace these opportunities that we maybe took for granted before COVID, but it's only once they were taken away from us. We really appreciate spending that time together.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's a bit of a transition now. I think people are still starting to getting used to going out again. We all got very comfortable in some ways in
our little bubbles.
Bubbles, and sometimes it's just nice to be at home with a cozy blanket and hot chocolate with it. So I think sometimes people do still need a little bit more encouraging to go out and create those experiences, but we have to, and I've definitely learned it, it's only us that we can create it for ourselves. It's not just going to land on our feet. We need to plan for these things. So, for example, if we want to have a certain party, or we know that it's so-and-so's 40th birthday or 50th birthday in 2 years' time, start planning now, because you could start saving now, putting money away for that. I had my daughter's bat mitzvah, which we celebrated earlier this year.
Amazing.
And obviously, being an event planner, people were like, "Oh, it's going to be amazing."
Goodness, the expectations.
Yeah, but we've just been through a pandemic, and we did go all out with it. I had to be creative of how I spent our budget with what we were doing. But people start saving even for some events that that are going to happen, or you've got a daughter or son and you're going to have to pay for their wedding at some point. Start saving from when they're born. Have a separate bank account. Even if you put a little bit away each month, it's going to be a lot less stressful nearer the time when it comes to planning, because these things aren't cheap. And if you do want to do something kind of extravagant for them or extra special, even on a budget wedding is not cheap.
No.
Yeah.
You probably know.
It's not cheap at all. But that's so true, actually. And that's just reminded me that I should probably start saving as well for my mum's big birthday in a few years' time. So thank you for that reminder. But I think just to kind of round off, then I would love to know what would be your kind of top 3 tips or things to think about for anyone that is thinking about planning an event.
I would say think about your guests that are coming and what's going to be really special for them. You will know probably what they've done before or seen before, and think about something different. You give them experience. I'd say is don't try and do everything yourself if you can get help.
Sure.
Yeah.
There are people out there that can get help. Maybe you're throwing a dinner party, bring in a private chef to your home. If you don't like cooking, hire a private chef. And there's private chefs out there at all different price points now. So you don't have to do that. Or have it catered. Bring in elements that you can. Or for example, decor. If decor's not your thing, buy a box of decor and get some help, or get a venue stylist to come into your house and do it. There's different ways that you can do it. And I would say is bring those magic touches into your event. So think about all of the things. So think about being creative with your food, being creative with your drinks and how you serve your drinks, the type of glassware that you use, how you decorate your drinks, your tableware, how you dress your table, the ambience in your room, the music, the entertainment, all of those things. Even if you have a little bit of everything, it all adds to the experience of everything that you're doing.
Amazing. Well, as somebody who finds event planning very stressful, I'm now feeling very inspired and wanting to plan an event. And I'm sure loads of our listeners are as well. So for anybody who wants to get in touch with you, whether they want to have you plan and manage an event for them, or they want to buy one of your amazing tablescapes, which I will definitely be buying, or they want to read your book, Extraordinary Parties, where is the best place for them to go?
Probably the best place is my website, which is debbie-marks.com. Cube Luxe, which is where the box is. It has its dedicated website, which is Cube, spelt with a Q. QUBELUXE.com. But if you go to the Debbie Marks website, everything links from there. Or you can follow me personally on Instagram, which is Debbie S Marks, and everything links to there. And you get a little bit of behind the scenes of my crazy life and everything that I'm doing on there as well.
Amazing. Oh, well, thank you so much. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was so good. I wish we could have had you for longer. I want to hear about everything.
I want to hear about all of the extravagant parties as well.